JB here, JB here. Hope everyone's doing that. Wednesday, March 12th, 3:30. Let's find afternoon talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at, go from there. S&P looks like we're going to get a green close. Well, we'll see. There's still 29 minutes left in trading day. Cooler than expected, or mostly in line to cooler expected CPI data this morning. Thankfully, it's kind of like a sigh of relief, and maybe we'll get some follow through tomorrow. There's not much in the way of catalyst after the close there. We have Adobe earnings. Uh, so, pending any crazy headlines, maybe at least we can find some short-term footing here. Also, I was talking about this morning the RSI on the S&P was under 30, and that hasn't happened. I have to go back. Let's see if I can pull back the last time that happened. But because it's got close to 30 back at the end of 2023 a couple times. That's when we were near lows. In August with that Japan yen carry trade fiasco, but it was back at the end of 2022 was the last time the RSI went under 30. So doesn't mean without a doubt or 100% guarantee that we're going to bounce, but if you're looking for scenarios where the market might find at least a short-term bottom, maybe this is it. So of course, the markets doesn't make it easy, right? If we just went straight to the upside, it would have been an easy session here today. But what does it do? It pulls the opening move. We hit lows at 11 o'clock, and then we bounced into the noon hour, and then we've been chopping around, and hopefully we can find a bid here into the close, and we don't have a green to red reversal before the end of the day. Uh, Other things, so was let's see here. So we didn't hit yesterday's low. 552 was a low yesterday. We hit 533, 553.69 or so. So maybe higher lows, higher highs. Just we haven't got to that 563. We got to 563, and that seems like resistance. So tomorrow's another session. Hopefully, we can at least find some footing here. And then some other things to note. You start looking at the daily charts, and it has pinchers setting up. And typically, you don't see pinchers on the indexes, but the IWM and the S&P, the SPY, you take a look at, they have pinchers setting up. And I'll see if I didn't circle them, but typically precedes reversals or yeah, long, pretty large reversals. All right, so that's kind of the overall market CPI data. And then we get the Fed next week. And I thought the duration or a time frame between the March meeting and the May meeting was longer than normal. But I went back and did some research, and it's 49 days to the next Fed meeting from next week's meeting. Uh, and then it's like 42. It averages between 42 and 49 days between each meeting. So it isn't a longer duration time frame between the meeting between March and May. So I guess as much as I thought maybe that might be some kind of reason for folks to be a little cautious, or at least the Fed not be able to update their either cutting rates or commentary between then. I guess that's not the case. All right. So now just individual names. So first, and actually, and the VIX too is down nearly 10% here today. So I mean, it's probably its biggest down move since you have to go back. I don't know the last time it's been down 10%. But you look at these candles, it's been slow and steady kind of to the upside. And now you have back-to-back red days on the VIX, which that hasn't happened since the middle of February. So maybe some promising signs. Maybe even just short-term bounces. And last but not least here, the 200 days amount of stocks on the S&P trading over their 200-day moving average still ticking lower, down to 41%. Only down a little bit here today, but another thing I'll be watching. All right, so now individual names with stocks running up at the open, gapping. Arista all the way up to 83 at the open. It was trading around 82 bucks. Didn't want to be in a spot where it reversed, so I took some of my calls off to cover some costs for nearly 100%. And then sure enough, it embarks on a pull all the way down back under 80 bucks at 11 o'clock, and it bounced. So it was all the way up at 81.50. Now it's trading around here 80 bucks. Still like this one. I'm not going to add any more strikes just yet, but if there's follow through tomorrow, don't be surprised to add some more calls for a bounce. It's like I don't want to be in a spot where I'm catching a falling knife on Arista, but when it does bounce, it's gonna be 10, 6, 8, 10 bucks to the upside, a very short duration. So that's kind of thought process there. And then with the markets finding some weakness, I was looking for put hedges and strategy again on the radar. The funny thing is Monday, the premiums were insane, right? The $200 puts and the stock was trading around 240, 250 were $3 and $4. and then a lot of it came out um, Monday and Tuesday. And then today I was looking on when it's starting to dip and it was 260. The 200 puts were like 30, 40, 50 cents. So I went and got some spec puts. They were up 50% for a little bit by the 11 o'clock hour, and then a reverse course. And once it started break back over 260, uh, it was unfortunately it wasn't gaining premium as much as I'd like to on the way down. And then small little bounces, the premium is eroded quicker. So I locked those in for a loss. Definitely, I'll be revisiting. Continue. I could trade strategy 3 or 4 times or five, and either have to salvage some or watch them expire. And then one of those trades are going to turn into multi-bag. It's just going to happen. So I'll continue to look for opportunities, especially if the market remains volatile. Um, and then while markets are bouncing, I finally, as mentioned on the watch list this morning, got some Roku spec calls today. It's trading right around its 200-day moving average at $71. Was just up over 72 for a flash. Another name just needs a little kick in the butt, and they already had the bearish analyst upgrade the stock last week. I don't think it's going to take much for a bounce if the market cooperates. So got some of those. And then some other names I'm in. Caterpillar, still kind of muddling around here. Want to see that back over its 50 and 200 day moving average. It's 359, 361. I think it trades over 360 if the market finds some footing here today. And then Baidu gave back the gains from yesterday, found its support at the 200-day moving average pretty much exactly at it. 89 and 89.88 is the 200-day moving average. It hit a low of 88, 89.88 earlier, 89.89, excuse me. And it's been bouncing. So I still think this story has legs. It's going to play out. So maybe some consolidation here today, and then embark on the next leg. 95.75 is the big spot I'm looking at. Once that breaks, I think 100 comes. And then still looking for TKO. And I was mentioned this morning and yesterday as a name as like kind of a bounce play, not even a bounce play, but I think it heads higher over the next months and years. But certainly it's not a name I've traded before, so I'll be patient. But don't be surprised if I had some strikes at some point there. I was actually eyeing VKTX this morning, and it's knock on wood, it's a name I've I haven't traded too much. I traded for earnings or into earnings. Uh, just kind of looking at, they had some news, a collaboration news where they're doing an investment where someone's going to help with their commercialization, uh, getting, what, 100 million up front and then offset of some of the profits. I don't know exactly how that deal works, but yesterday the stock sold off because people took the news from VKTX as kind of like, hey, we're not going to get bought out. So, uh, anyway, it's reversed course here. Today, you have another analyst out with another $105 price target. I was looking at 33 weeklies, but I'll be patient. I was curious. I put in the chat room. I'm going to try and sit on my hands. But definitely one. I'm not sure if it's back on watch to add, but if it has continuation tomorrow, you start looking. Its 50-day moving average of $33. You had that big spike a couple weeks ago on that huge Friday lotto of call volume, and all of a sudden the stock just went bonkers. So it has it in it. So it could be a nice play too. And it's not even over levels it was at last week. So 35 or so, I think it could hit without any kind of news. And that's it, folks. Let's have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.